cooking for Christmas. So.
Well, I'll take a turkey leg.
I'll make sure I get your order in.
Yeah, a little dry ice, that'd be great. We are live. It's the True Payroll Weekly Migration Update. This is December 24th, 2021. So, and we've got our faithful Anthony on with us, which is awesome. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in. And this week I've got no updates from wholesale payroll to share. However, I do want to go over a couple of reminders for year end. Because we're not doing a migration, W-2s are going to be handled the exact same way they've always been done. And our customers get the choice of printing them themselves, allowing employees to print them, or have us do that. And then if you have us print them, you have a couple choices there. We can either print them just plain paper, deliver them to your location if you're on the island, or we can mail those not stuffed, they'll just be loose paper, and then you can hand them out. Or you can have us fold them, stuff them, and mail them directly to your employees. And those, we have a format, what did go out last or earlier this week with a Google form. That is sometimes working for some people and sometimes it's not working for others. So I don't know what the technical glitch is on that. If you have any questions or you just want to shoot an email over and let us know how you'd like to handle that, that'd be great. If we don't hear from customers this year, because we had some hiccups last year, if we don't hear from customers, we are going to automatically mid-month prepare W-2s and get them mailed out to your employees to avoid any previous hiccups from past years. Okay, so that's the W-2s. And next week, just another reminder that direct deposits, interestingly enough, some banks are actually open today. Some deposits are processing today. Same thing for next week. I would not take the chance. It's officially a bank holiday, yet some banks are remaining open to process. But again, if you're paying on Friday, I would move that up a day and do that for a Thursday deposit. And if your payroll is on a Monday or Tuesday in the first, I guess it's the 3rd and 4th of January, process those a day early. Count Friday as a day off, just to be on the safe side. And most of our customers have taken heed on that, and I would not push it. So I do know that at least 2 employees haven't received checks because they did not take heed to this advice. So just be aware of that. And I would go ahead and plan that the banks are closed next Friday. And then finally, we're going to be closed a little bit next week. We're taking a little bit of our own time off, first time in like forever, it seems. We're going to close on the 29th at noon. And for those that are gun enthusiasts, we're actually going to be doing a family event that Wednesday and getting some live fire training done. So on the move, Keanu Reeves style. So that should be pretty fun. And then I'm looking forward to it. And then we're actually going to be closed Thursday and Friday for some year-end planning and some family affairs that we are going to attend to. Then we'll be open Monday on the 3rd, right back in the saddle, all things normal. And so that could affect some customers with some year-end tax stuff. So the bottom line is don't be overly concerned, because on Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, that first week, if we need to do any kind of backdating of paychecks, putting things into 2021, we can still handle that. Until your forms are actually filed for the 4th quarter and end of year, we can make adjustments without really any kind of concern. Other than that, we didn't have any questions come in this past week. And so, Anthony, the floor is yours. You get to speak for everybody again.
Well, first of all, Al, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year and all that. I'm glad to hear you're taking a few days off to enjoy family and friends and whatever. Wishing you all the best there.
And you too. Thank you.
Thank you for all your support as well. Appreciated. especially for Canadian, because everything here is the same but different. So, it's been a great journey in the last year and a half working in Florida. I'm loving it. So my questions, you partially already answered that. I was going to ask about the W-2. Specifically, we have one employee who has an imputed life insurance value. And I just don't remember how to do that from last year and when to do that. It's an imputed value. I think we just add it to a box somewhere in the system.
You do. Yep.
And is it somewhere in the summary totals? I can't remember. If you can quickly go over that and then.
Sure. I'm going to go right over. I'm going to actually go right over to your account. We're not going to share that screen, so that way
Okay.
I don't want that on recording for everybody.
Right.
And let's see. So what's the first name?
Jessica.
Okay, there we go. And you've got we got all that set. We are including life as those checks are being processed. You're aware of that?
I think it's 0 though.
Unless you're editing that, we do have a value sitting in that box that would be automatically added to each check. So let's just take a quick look at that.
Oh.
It does look like it is.
I know there is a field.
Looks like it's being zeroed out.
Yeah, I think it's 0. And then I think we set that up so that we can put in the imputed value at the year end, I assume. I assume that's why it's done that way.
You would, I'm going to actually, yes, it's been zeroed out. There is a small amount listed in the profile for her. And the easiest thing to do is to process on that final check of the year, just add that value into that specific box. You will see that. Let's click on payday for you.
Oh, okay. So if I put it into that box just for the last day for the whole year, it'll actually calculate any tax associated with that on that final payroll then?
Yeah, so you have a column, yes. It's called GTL. So that's the group term life.
Oh, sorry, what's that again?
GTL, it's the column called GTL for you, and it's gross term life.
Gross, okay, so I got to make sure.
What that stands for.
Okay, GTL. So if I put that in there, it's going to recognize this amount is coming from somewhere else. It's not paying an extra X dollars from our account for that, right? Because this is a value we're getting from.
It's a paper value, yes.
It's a paper value. It doesn't add to her gross pay, but it's another box on there showing this benefit. I guess that's my question.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and click.
Because I can put the amount in and then see what it looks like, right? And then if I don't like it, I can edit it.
Absolutely. Let me just click on this really quick.
And I should be able to compare it to a previous payroll so I can know whether it's
exactly. I'm doing that for you right now, just to double check
see what's happening
and see what it because I actually don't remember myself.
Well,
you think I'd have all this stuff memorized, right? But yeah, we actually don't deal. So yeah, and that's what I thought. It is a paper recording in order to get the value onto the W-2, and so that it's not doing anything to her net or her gross amounts. It'll show.
Okay, so the net amount will stay the same.
Sorry, the net amount stays the same. All of the tax off. It's not affecting anything at all.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Other than adding it so it'll be in box, what's that, box 12?
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
box 12
extra
or 14.
benefits or whatever. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, that's great, sir. I wasn't sure how to do that. So doing it in the final payroll next week is going to be beneficial. Then it's there, it's captures it.
That's exactly what you want to do.
Instead of having to back it in later on.
Yep.
Are there any other, with respect to W-2s, are there any other things like that that are things that happen with payroll typically that you run into?
Yes, all the time. Anything? Actually, what a great question. There are two. The first one's critical. So thanks for asking that question. And that is only going to apply to customers that have some kind of 401k option for themselves or employees. That has to be done before the end of the calendar year. That's not something we can technically go back and post date or predate into the first week. So because money has to move by the end of the year, if there's going to be some kind of contribution into a 401k, you need to get that in from the employee side of things. So if you have that, and I know you guys don't, but there's a number of other customers that would. So that would be one adjustment to ensure that you've got your 401k retirement plan parts figured out. The second is health insurance. That's another big adjustment. And that is not something that you would add to a paycheck. When we go through the process of doing W-2s, it'll prompt all users, including us, to add any health insurance values as a separate box. And it only happens once a year. And you just need to have that in there. So the caveat to that is if you're a S corporation and you have owner, S corp owner, shareholder health insurance, that does need to get onto the W-2. So we can adjust for that. And we have a list of customers that we've identified over the course of time. So we won't do their W-2s. We'll make sure they don't get processed until we reach out and ensure that health insurance value is put onto their W-2. So great question. And those are the two things that come up.
Those are the two main ones that you have to deal with. But the health, the health are only when it's provided by the employer, right? Because not all employers provide health insurance.
Correct.
Is there a general rule as to how, is it number of hours? Is it a gross pay for health insurance when health insurance kicks in, or is it company based? Or I know it's a mirage in the US.
It is. It's based on states, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And here in Florida, there is no law that says you have to provide health insurance. I think until you hit 50 full-time equivalent employees, I believe is the break point. Which,
is that right? Okay.
Yeah, most of our customers
are
smaller. I
smaller,
can't even think of a single customer that would qualify other than one. And they fall under a different kind of exemption. And it's commonality of ownership interest in that particular sense. There's a couple different businesses that have similar owners that would require, you'd lump all those different employees together and figure it out as though it was all one company. And other than
therefore they have to provide health insurance because of some kind of relationship.
And in their case, exactly. But however, in their case, there's yet another exception that precludes them from having to do it. So there's nobody that I'm aware of in Florida as our customers. If you're in California, that's going to change in January. So this year you had to have 20 full-time equivalents and you had to provide it. The state out there has changed it. So beginning January 1st of 2022, if you have 5 employees, 5 full-time equivalents, you have to provide health coverage. So New York has got some. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, does it matter whether you're part-time or full-time or number of hours, or is there a threshold there? Is that also state controlled? But
state by state, and it's always going to, I won't say always, typically it's called a full-time equivalent. And what that could mean, Anthony, is you could have 10 people. So let's say California, for instance, if you had 10 people working 20 hours a week, you would have 5 full-time equivalents.
Right, that makes sense. Because 20 is about half time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I got
and so it all comes down to the having the accumulation of 40 hours. And then in California's case, so if you have 200 hours worked a week by employees, you've met the threshold.
Right. Okay, I got you. And what is the official deadline for having a W-2 in your employee's hand?
January 31st.
Is it the end of January?
Another great question. Yeah, January 31st. You have to have them printed it out the door. Technically, in my 25 plus years, I've never seen anyone get hammered by the IRS for not having them out the door. However, it's a $50 per form penalty for not doing it. So
So it's
I can
worth
tell
it.
you, it is definitely worth it. And then the miscommunication that has occurred between some customers and us in the past is why we put this other policy into place to say, by the 15th of January, if we haven't heard from a customer as to the option they want to choose, whether they're going to self-print or otherwise, we are going to print them and
Right.
mail them out because we don't want anybody to have any issues.
Oh, totally. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want them to
And
run
this
into
year,
problems.
I got to tell you, in our 16-year history, I'm excited for the first time to do W-2s because we now have a machine that is going to do all the stuffing, the folding, the inserting, the whole thing. So
Oh,
I'm excited.
wow.
It gets installed on Tuesday. So
Oh,
for
wonderful. That's
every
great. So,
year prior, we sat and we would print, fold, stuff, seal, stick the stamp on it, and then take it. This
oh my
year,
goodness.
we just put it in the machine, out they go. So I'm so it's a small victory.
Wonderful. Wow. That
It
is,
was hours. Yeah.
oh
Yeah. So I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward.
Oh yeah. And can you use it for other applications as well, this machine?
We could.
Is that-
Yeah. If there's any kind of folding or stuffing required to go into an envelope. Yeah. Yeah, we could.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
1099s, W-2s, paychecks even. So as we're getting set for next year's growth, basically is what we're anticipating with the new
Right.
platform and the way in which wholesale payroll is enabling us to really scale.
Right.
The printing
awesome.
option should become, I think, will be a bigger selection as we grow. People are going to want more checks printed. So being able to just
Checks printed.
print them.
Okay.
We do a fair number of it, actually.
You do a
Probably
fair
about,
number of actual printing of checks. I'm surprised to hear that, but that's okay.
Yeah, I bet you about right now it's probably anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 a month.
1,500 to 2,000 employee payroll checks printed and mailed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
would most would be ACH, I would assume.
Predominantly.
Predominantly ACH, which is okay.
And
Okay.
well, and that depends on the sector, type of industry as well. So you get into the construction industries and the trades and things like that, you see a lot more checks than you do direct deposit.
Correct. Okay.
The personal service industry with restaurants and those types of businesses, you see a lot more. It's predominantly check versus direct deposit. So,
correct. And that's, yeah, I can understand why that would be different for those industries. That makes total sense.
depends on geography as well. So here in Florida, Texas, New York, the predominant worker in a restaurant doesn't want direct deposit. They want the physical check because then
Right.
they go cash it. So
Right. Yeah. No, I gotcha.
Yep. So if they're living hand to mouth, week to week, they want the check. They don't want direct deposit.
Correct. I hear you.
Yeah.
And there may be other reasons. Yeah. No, I understand.
Oh
I
yeah.
understand.
So you have the those folks that have child support. They don't ever want direct deposit. They always want checks.
Okay.
Well, I won't
okay.
say always, but yeah, those that
Yeah,
are
they're still
trying
going to get a
to-
W-2 though at the end of the year. I mean, they're still going to get a
They
W-2,
will.
so that information is captured by the IRS.
and the state agencies. It doesn't really help them in the long run. It's just creating a bigger nightmare for them down the road. But that's the nature of it. We've seen it time and time again.
Yeah. So it's a trust factor and probably more that than anything else.
There's a whole lot that goes into it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Yeah. And no need to get onto that here. So anything else that we need to know that's year-end specific? I mean, the W-2s are obviously the big things and the 1099s. Are there anything else that's
Not really. And not that we
year-end?
didn't cover. So yeah, the 401k
Okay.
stuff, the health insurance. That's
Yeah, you
really,
mentioned-
that's really it.
Yeah.
Bonuses. So you know what another good point to make, and we do this a lot. I mean, insofar as recommending that all of our clients and small business owners, just in general, go talk to their tax professional. Do that year-end last-minute review. Make sure that you're covered so that it doesn't raise any audit triggers. That's ultimately the purpose for the small business owner to even have a payroll, just to keep Uncle Sam off their back. It's a lot of times what we'll see is somebody who just pays this very basic minimal amount, and then they come time to do their taxes, they don't have enough withheld. And so there's this big tax hit. So it's worth doing the planning, and you can avoid the penalties and interest by at least doing some kind of year-end bonus. And that will make up for any lack of estimated payments that you might not have made outside of the
Right.
payroll. So it's always worth scheduling some time, even if it's 15 minutes, to say, hey, here's where I'm at. What do you think? Do I have enough? Most tax preparers are, whether they charge or don't charge for that kind of review, it's worth every penny to make sure that you avoid that audit and you don't have some surprise come April.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. What about if somebody they want the bonus, but they don't necessarily want the cash? Does that, so then, they might want a $10,000 bonus.
Sure,
Can that be booked somehow through a W-2
sure.
as,
We'll take the
that-
cash, and we're givers like that. So if somebody doesn't want their cash, we'll take it for them. I got plenty of ways to spend it. But seriously,
well, I'm just
though,
thinking
yeah,
like a journal entry at the year-end bonus payable or something like that. I don't know if that's got to be captured in a W-2 or not, or whether,
it would.
or
Yeah,
whether it gets captured when the bonus is paid, because, well, it's a little bit different in the US than it is in Canada. That's why I asked.
So it's a two-part answer. The first part is, if you run your bonus for this year and you're on accrual basis, you could accrue that into the current tax year, regardless of when you actually make the payment. The payment dictates what year it shows up on your W-2 here in the States.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So if you go to do a bonus for 2021 of say 10 grand, but you actually don't pay it until January, it'll show up in the January W-2.
Right.
Or the 2022 W-2. However, again, with accrual accounting, you can take whatever payroll that was for any period that is in this year and
I
make
see
your
what you're
journal entry
saying.
and
So
adjust for it.
you book the payment when the payment is actually physically made, irregardless of when you book the bonus, for instance. So you can have a timing
Correct.
difference between when
You
I
could.
got it.
You
And
could.
is there a time frame within which you have to pay a bonus? So let's say if I'm a company and I book a bonus at the end of December, and I pay myself, do I have to pay that bonus within a certain number of months? Or can it sit there on the books, kind of gathering dust for a while?
That one's got me a little bit stumped. I'm just trying to think of any rules anywhere that would dictate that.
The
I
rule
can't
in
think of a
Canada,
thing.
just in comparison, the rule of Canada is 6 months. You've got 6 months from the time of the end of your fiscal year. So it depends on whether you're just, it could be, doesn't necessarily have to be December. So you've got 6 months from the end of your year. So if you've got an April year end, you've got to pay your bonus out by just before the end of October. So you got 6 months to actually pay it to be legit.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Here's what I would say. As a small business that might just be the owner and they have
Yep.
payroll and they put them a bonus on, they could literally let that sit there forever and collect dust. The caveat to it would be under audit. Chances are that would get reversed if you never paid it out.
Yeah. There has to be some reasonable timeline within which you pay that. Otherwise, I mean,
There could
Yeah.
very well be. Again, that's an interesting question. Never came up
okay.
in the past. So, and I've never seen it where a bonus was just kind of sitting there accrued, unpaid.
Right. For more than a short
I'm
period of
actually
time.
going to give myself a note on that one, and that'll give me something to look at. Just
Because I'm sure
for
that
fun.
happens. That's, yeah. In Canada, that's the rule. And if you don't pay it out within 6 months, then you're right. Then the IRS basically says then the accrual of that bonus is not legit.
I would definitely think under audit that it would end up getting reversed if it was
Reverse, and
Couple-
then that creates a
couple years
tax
old.
issue. Yeah,
now. Then
Yeah.
and you definitely have a major tax issue at that point.
yeah.
So
Okay. Well, that's great. Love chatting with you on all these issues, Al. It's been a
Right.
pleasure.
Thanks. You are the voice of the customer. So I appreciate you joining us all every week. So that's great. Otherwise, I'm sitting here by myself talking to a camera.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's way more better talking to a live person, right? Whether
It
it's
is.
Zoom
It's
or
fun.
in studio or whatever, right? So well,
It is.
I've enjoyed our chats. We'll keep it up. I assume you're going to continue with the schedule into the new year?
So that's another great question. I think I'm just going to continue doing this even after we migrate, and I'm going to take the opportunity to just leave Fridays at 11 for questions and training, and just highlight different things as we move forward.
That's awesome. I think that's a great plan, and you'll be off next weekend, which you much
We
deserve.
will not be here next Friday, so that one is, unless I
Okay.
decide to go live from where we're at, just to show what kind of fun we're having. I might do that. We'll
Well,
put that
send me
in
an
the
email if
slide
you
deck
do that,
there.
then I might consider joining you.
Right? There's going to be some fun. So yeah.
Okay,
We
that's
might just
great,
do
Al.
that. All right.
All right. Have a
Thanks so
Merry
much.
Christmas and a Happy New
You
Year to you,
enjoy.
okay?
All right. And you.
All right,
Thanks.
take care. Yep,
All right,
bye-bye.
Bye. And we will not be back next week, as this slide is, unless I do go live from, and it's a big surprise. So none of the kids know what we're doing or where we're going.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So we'll
Well, I
definitely
won't
be
tell
back
them.
in 2 weeks, and we'll see you all then. If not,
All right.
live next week for a couple of minutes.
Okay, take care, Al. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.